listening to Chasing Prophecy Radio, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. On UPRN Talk Radio FM 107.7 in New Orleans and FM 105.3 in Mississippi.
If it's unexplainable, we're talking about it.
Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, we cover everything where the unknown becomes the known. And now here's your host, Jenny Nicasio.
Welcome to Chasing Prophecy Radio on FM 107.7 in New Orleans and McIntyre and 105.3 in Henderson Point, Mississippi, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. Tonight, we are thrilled to have a very special guest joining us, John Russell. John is a renowned figure in the world of paranormal research. He's an author. He spent years being a psychic, delving into the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of our understanding, with a keen eye for detail and passion for uncovering the truth. John has contributed significantly to our understanding of the supernatural. Whether it's ghost hunting, exploring ancient myths, or investigating unexplained phenomena, or doing psychic readings, John brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. So tighten your seatbelts, folks, and prepare to embark on a journey into the unknown as we welcome John Russell to the show. So good evening and welcome back, John. How are you this evening?
Jenny, how are you doing? It's so nice to be back with you again. I'm looking forward to this evening, and I appreciate you having me back.
I'm so glad to have you back. I'm so glad. I mean, we're starting 2024 with you. So,
Yep.
and we just finished up January, and we're going into, what is this, the 4th of February already? Can you believe it?
4th of February already, yeah. Unbelievable, isn't it?
And Groundhog did not see his shadow, so I'm looking forward to spring, sunshine, and some warmer weather. So,
Yeah,
John, so
absolutely.
tell me, what have you been up to?
Well, I continue to read for my worldwide clientele, so I do that. I've been a professional psychic over 50 years. I've read for clients in over 40 countries, which just blows my mind. It's just an amazing honor. In the past couple of years, I've done over 170 interviews. So staying very busy with that.
A lot of interviews. It's a lot of
interviews. And I've got a lot scheduled for this year already and done a lot this year already. I did 7 interviews in January, and I've completed 3 books. 3 books are out: Writing with Ghost Angels and the Spirits of the Dead, and Knock in the Attic. And my latest book, 20 Ways to Increase Your Psychic Abilities. I've finished a 4th book, The Crying Tree and the Magic Rock, and that will be coming out this year.
Wow.
And I'm about halfway through a 5th book, The Cansack Ghost, which will come out either late this year or early next year.
Wow. How in the world do you manage to do a couple books at a time? I had a problem just doing one.
I hear you. Well, I stay tired a lot.
Do you get any sleep?
I do. A little bit.
A little bit.
But I usually wake up like at 3 at the witching hour and then have a hard time going back to sleep.
I've been doing that almost every night. Usually 3:03, 3:13.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then I have a hard time going back to sleep. And a lot of the times I get up at 4 or 5 a.m. anyways.
Yeah.
So,
I think if you get up early, you get more. If you try to go to bed, they say if you try to get in bed at 10 p.m., you'll fall asleep by 11. And that's like puts you. And if you wake up, say 4:30, 5 o'clock, it's really good because you can do so much within that time that you normally couldn't get done.
The house is quiet. I can get up. I can answer my client emails. I can check my schedule for the day. I can, all this good stuff.
Peaceful time, though, in the early morning. You get your coffee.
Yeah, nice and quiet, nice and dark, and nobody around to disturb you. So, it's good. It's good.
You can think. So I just want to let everybody know that this show is sponsored by the United Public Radio. And if you have a if you have a question or comment, let me see. I haven't even looked in to see if there's anybody in the chat yet. I do not believe. I think we're the only ones in it so far. For some reason, I'm not sure. I know a lot of other, streamers and influencers say that first 5 minutes that no one's in the chat, or they can't see, it doesn't start right, or they don't get a notification until it's almost 10 till 10 into the show. So
Oh, how
I don't
weird.
know. I don't know why that is, but it's crazy. But
Yeah.
well, let's just back up a little. Let's just go. I'm just going to go back. So okay. Where are we? I had some questions for you. Okay,
right.
so let's talk about. I don't want to your new book.
Yeah.
The one, how to develop your psychic abilities. We'll do that one first, because
Okay. Okay.
I did not know. I went on your website. I didn't see that one. So, is it out
Yeah.
yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's been out
Oh, it
since
is.
July of last year. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's
wow.
on my
Well,
author website and on my psychic website. There's links to it. Yeah.
okay. So, and is Melissa your wife, or is she so I
That's
was
my
doing.
motorcycle.
Oh, that's your motorcycle. You named
That's my
her. Okay.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your motorcycle first. Okay. I know you.
Okay.
I think that's a neat. You named your. Okay. So in the riding with ghosts. Okay.
Right.
So you go. It's ghosts and angels, and you talk about the spirits of the dead.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a blend with your motorcycle travel and the paranormal
Yeah.
exploration. So what
Right.
inspires you to combine these two things, these elements, your
Well,
bike and your.
I've been a biker since I was 15. And, I started, I became aware of my psychic gift at the age of 6, started doing paranormal investigations at age 11, and then started reading professionally at the age of 18. So I've always been a biker, always been a psychic.
That's
And
crazy combo.
yeah, and the interesting way that this merged was I had shot a TV pilot for the History Channel, which unfortunately never aired. But I
Oh,
became friends with my producer, and we continued to work on projects together to try and get me back on the air. And he said, I've had way, way, way over 1,000 paranormal experiences, as we discussed previously. And he said, why don't you take and start a blog online and just put snippets of some of these experiences you've had, so that when we approach other producers, we can point them there and they can read and say, okay, this is,
hmm
get a better idea of what everything's all about. So I said, okay. So I started this little blog. And about that time, I began to have paranormal experiences that were related to my bike riding, my motorcycle riding, and then the destinations I went to, and so on and so forth. And they became really intense and very frequent during this time. And they
wow.
were so over the top, even for me, even for what I've experienced, that I began to put snippets of those in the blog. But then I looked at it and I said, these things are so incredible, even by my standards, my experiences. These things are so incredible that I've got to write down the entire story of what happened with each one of these episodes, go into detail on it, what I learned
hmm
from it, what it taught me, what it might teach someone else, what it might teach the reader as far as advancing their spiritual walk. And I have to do that and put that into a book. And I thought that's going to be my legacy, is
That's a
writing
good.
with ghosts, angels, and the spirits of the dead. So that was the impetus for the first book. That's how that came about.
That's neat. I like that combo. So your encounters include not just ghosts and spirits, but also angels and
Right.
UFOs.
Right.
Okay.
Oh
Now
yeah.
how does the UFOs come into the scene?
The UFOs I've experienced since I was around 20, 21, 22,
hmm
somewhere around in there. I had my first UFO experience, and I saw it in broad daylight with witnesses. And what was really funny was, up to that point, I didn't believe in UFOs. I'd had all these paranormal experiences. I'd been reading, doing psychic readings for years and years, but I
hmm
just didn't believe in UFOs. I just couldn't cotton on to it until I saw my first one. And then I was like,
Okay.
okay, now we got to change denominations here. And since then, I've had several experiences with UFOs, a lot of sightings up close and personal, and one with a communication with a UFO, which was really frustrating because, well, when I saw it and I realized it was a UFO and it was very close,
Mm-hmm.
I stood up and verbally and psychically, I said to it, if you can hear me, stop and reverse course slightly. And it
Oh,
stopped
wow.
and it reversed course slightly. And I was like, holy cow. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it shoots up into it was down real, real low, and it shoots up about to the level of where you look up in the night sky and the 727, 757s are flying over, right around that level. And it hovered there a little bit, then it shot up into the stars, hovered there a little bit, and then shot off into the universe. All of that occurred in less than a split second's time. No noise, no sonic boom, no flames, no
No.
nothing. Just mind boggling. And I've discussed with several interviewers, several of my friends, several people I know. I've pondered it myself. It's like, okay, obviously it heard you. Obviously it interacted with you. And then it was kind of like, and everybody's reaction was kind of the same as mine about its departure. It's like, yeah, we heard you. Hey, what's this? Boom, we're out of here. Look
Yeah.
what we can do.
That's what they
And
say.
and then nothing, no follow up. No further attempt at contact. No great mysteries of the universe revealed. No healings. No health. I'm not any better looking. I'm not any richer. So what the heck?
Well, you hear a lot of people say that, like, if you have an encounter, so you're a psychic, so you might be able to channel them, you might
Right,
be able to
right.
communicate with them sometime, but you didn't have any experiences like that.
Never have been able to. And I'm aware of a lot of people that say that they do.
Yeah,
A lot of the stuff that they bring through is basically useless. It doesn't make any sense.
that's what they said.
So I've just I'm one of these. I'm one of the most skeptical psychics there is for all the experiences I've had. And my life is very practical. My readings are practical. They tell people what to do and how to do it to make their
Hmm.
lives better.
Well,
And the experiences that I've had with the paranormal manifestations have not been imagined or hallucinated or
mhm.
meditated or dreamed or whatever. They've occurred on the physical realm. And other people have witnessed them. We've caught them on camera. We've caught them on audio. We've caught them on video. So all of these things. And then I figured out, how does this fit into the paradigm of life? And things have to make sense. Things have to be practical. We can get all foo-foo and out there and imagine anything we want or say anything we want, but does it actually change our lives for the better, and does it actually make our lives better? And if it doesn't, I
Then
discount it. I don't have anything to do with it, because
yeah,
it doesn't move my life or my client's life forward in any practical way.
if it doesn't do it, then you lose it.
Yeah, that's
uh,
it. It's got to work. It's got to work.
yeah, hi Cindy. I just saw you in the chat. If you have any questions for John, shoot them at him. So
Absolutely.
I read that you're a skeptic of other psychics.
Yes. Unfortunately, in the religious field, as we've seen from the phony mega church evangelists, and as we've seen in the psychic field, there's a lot of phonies out there.
Hmm.
There's a lot of frauds. There's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of phonies. And there are some people that are well-meaning, but they don't know what the heck they're doing, you know. And this is something that I have literally devoted my entire life to. I had my first paranormal experience at the age of 5. Between the age of 5 and 6, I became aware of my psychic gift and began to exercise it. And I had a phenomenal reading comprehension from an early age. So by the age of 8, 10, 11, I was reading adult level books and comprehending them. So I studied everything I could find on the planet about religion, psychology, parapsychology, the supernatural, the spiritual realm, the paranormal realm, the psychic realm. I studied everything I could get my hands on, and I experimented with it. I said, let's see what works and what doesn't. And if I can't make it work, if it doesn't work, I discard it. If it's a theory somebody has and I run it through the grinder as many times as possible and it just don't fly, got to get rid of it, got to discount it. And I saw from an early age in the church, there were people that preached one thing and did the opposite. And there were a lot of people that cheated, on their spouses, on their taxes, in their business, whatever. There were people that stole. There were people that were so disingenuous and dishonest. I said, whoa, wait a minute, something's wrong here, because they're proclaiming adherence to this belief system, but it doesn't change their lives and they're not living it in their lives. And then likewise, I saw that in the psychic realm. There were a lot of psychics out there that, oh, I bought a tarot deck and I read a tarot book. Now I'm a tarot reader,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, folks, I have spent 50 years as a professional. I'm still learning. I'm still studying. I'm still trying to get better. I'm still trying to figure things out. And I've seen people that had a year or two experience and they think they're an expert, and I've been doing this since I was a kid. And I mean, I have devoted my life to it, dedicated my life to it, studied like crazy, still continue to study like crazy. And so it perturbs me when I see people go out there and think that they've had a few experiences, they've read a few books, they've talked to somebody. I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. You're a
Mm-hmm.
neophyte. You're a beginner.
Well, okay, so like I see so many on TikTok, like I see a lot of mediums on TikTok and they just go off and they start, oh well, if you put so much money in the chat, blah blah
Yeah,
blah, I'll do a reading for you.
right.
And there's a lot of the mediums that there's one in particular, it's a woman. And she's I kind of I feel that she had cancer as a young girl, and
Hmm.
then she had a
Hmm.
couple near death experiences, and she says that I'm not sure if she said that she developed these when she was sick or came back from the dead,
Right, right.
but it's just I don't know. I want to believe that they're sincere,
Hmm.
but when you go, like if I come to you and I how would you even start the reading? Like,
Well,
you
what
just
I
like you
do,
go into a chant, you start to go into a trance, or what
oh, good
happens?
Lord, no, don't. That's armchair stuff. That's bush league stuff. A true psychic, the gift is on all the time. It's on constantly. You never turn it off. You're always aware. You're always able to do a reading. And when I do a reading, I explain to the client there's two things that are going to happen. The other side is going to give me information for you.
Mhm.
I'm going to write all that down, have that ready to go before our reading starts. Now, the flip side of that coin is the other side sees further down the road than we do, and they see things from a different perspective of importance than we do. And what I mean by that is a woman might come to me and her hot button in the reading might be her romantic life. The other side is saying, screw that. You need to go back to college and finish this degree. So that's their hot button. Okay. So what I do with my clients, I'll tell them, I'm going to give you everything the other side gives to me, unvarnished, without interpretation. Here it is. That's what they tell you need to do. At the same time, write down your list of questions that you have. That'll be
Mhm.
including that romantic issue. And we'll cover that as well. So we cover both sides of the coin. So that way we get the client's questions in, make sure we cover all of those. I make sure that I cover everything that the other side gives me for them. And the reading, I dial them on the phone as soon as they pick up. We have a little small greeting. Hi, it's John. How you doing today? Let's get started on your reading. And then depending upon the way that spirit leads me for that particular reading, I'll either ask them to start with their questions or I'll start with what the other side's
Mhm.
given me and ask them to jump in when they need to. So no special thing. I don't need their birth date. I don't need their star sign. I don't need their picture or anything. It's just, here I am. I've got the gift. Let's go. Let's do this thing.
Oh, okay. That doesn't sound too scary.
No, not at all. Not at all.
That's interesting. Now, so you're not a medium, you're psychic,
I am
or
a
do you,
medium. I am a
okay,
medium.
so you're a
Yeah.
medium too.
Yeah, I communicate with
Okay.
those on the other side. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Now,
think any true psychic has to be a medium, and I think any true medium has to be a psychic. I think it's people have tried to separate that over the years, and it doesn't make any sense to separate it because if you're a psychic, you're not only predicting things or
mhm,
revealing things, you're also interacting with entities and intelligences, beings on the other side to get that information. Your guardian angels, your spirit guides give you that information. So in that sense, you're a medium. If you're seeing something in the vision, I've seen inside people's houses and described the layout of their furniture. Okay, that's
wow.
remote viewing. That's the new age term for it, the new label for it. It's always been there. It's been called clairvoyance, seeing at a distance, clear seeing. So that's always been there. We just put all these new labels on things. But I've always told people, like, look, if you're a psychic, you should be a medium, you should be this, you should be that. I never put a label on myself and I never restricted myself. So I said, okay, I want to learn how to communicate with the other side. I want to develop my skills in predicting the future better. I want to
Mhm.
experiment with crystals and rocks. and stones. I want to experiment with pendulums, with dowsing rods, with crystal balls, and I want to see where all that fits into my tableau and what is the strongest thing that I can use and just enhance myself. And, you don't go to the gym and all you do is do dumbbell curls and then you leave and that's all you ever do. You do bench presses, you do things for your shoulders, you do things for your neck, you do things for your legs, you do things for your stomach. And so likewise, a psychic, you should expand and develop as many things as you can and then see where your strengths lie within that. But don't restrict yourself and don't label yourself. Don't say, well, I'm only a psychic. I'm not a medium. I'm a medium. I'm not a psychic. It should all integrate. It should all be there.
So your book that it's teaching you, the one book that you're talking about teaches you how to develop your psychic ability.
Right. 20 ways to increase your psychic ability. So each chapter, there's 20 chapters, and each chapter has one specific tool or technique in it. What I do is I define that for you in the beginning of the chapter. I tell you what it is. Well, what is this thing? Okay, this is what it is. And then I tell you step by step, I take you by the hand, tell you step by step how to learn that particular tool or technique, and then how to practice it to get good at it, and then the real world application of it, so that it's not just a parlor trick. It's something you can actually use in your day-to-day life to improve your life. And I've gotten feedback from readers all around the world. People are sending me emails and so on and so forth, and communicating with me on Facebook saying, John, I got the book. I tried the things. It works. And the reason I knew that these techniques work, Jenny, is over the years, the other side has taught me these techniques directly. So I tried them, practiced them. I know that they work. And the other thing is there are so many books out there that say they're going to teach you how to be psychic or improve your techniques or whatever. And they are so couched in complex language and complications, and they're difficult to understand. And so I wrote this book in plain, simple language that anybody that doesn't know anything about any of these techniques or the psychic realm, they can pick up this book, understand it, and begin to use it. And the reader feedback has confirmed that. They said, John, you've made it plain, simple, easy to understand, easy to learn, easy to practice, and easy to do. So that was one of my aims. The other aim was to get rid of the superstitions surrounding psychic things, that if you're going to perform a certain ritual, you have to have expensive tools, you have to find hard to find herbs, you have to wait till the third month in the year on a Sunday night on a full moon and blah, 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 and wear purple. And no, you don't. It doesn't have to work that way. And I'm proof positive of it. And so are the people that are using the book. I distilled everything down to its basic essence. If you want to learn how to do this, here it is. Here's how to learn it. Here's how to do it. Here's how to practice it. And here's how to get good at it. So it's a very simple book. It's a very practical book. It's a book that anybody can take and use, learn the techniques, and use them to improve their lives, to make their lives better.
Yeah. Could you give us, because we really don't want to give the whole book, we want people to go out and buy the book. Could you give us maybe 3 tips or something that's in the book that can help? I want to develop my psychic ability. Right. Okay. Let's say, I don't know if this is really psychic ability. Like I had a dream last night about my mom who passed away. And at first she was a little mad at me in the dream. And then towards the, I guess maybe 5 minutes into the dream, she was real happy to see me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what is she trying to tell? Can you learn something from the book or not? Because this is more like.
Absolutely. I have an entire chapter on dream interpretation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have an entire chapter on dream interpretation that people have really been enjoying. And we don't place enough emphasis. So do you think anyone can develop their abilities? Yes, absolutely. And that's why I wrote the book, Cindy. Anybody can develop their abilities. Now, we're all going to plateau. We're all going to advance to different degrees. I have a lot more than most people. And some people are just there's going to be varying degrees that you can achieve. But everybody can develop their abilities. Absolutely. So get the book, Cindy. Work on what you want to. You'll see things develop. Now, having said that, again, it's just like going to the gym. If you want to bench press 100 pounds, you go to the gym, you can only bench press 50 pounds. You keep working until you can get up to 60 pounds, 75, 80, you finally get up to 100. And then if you take a month off, go back to the gym, maybe you can only do 80 now. You can't do 100 anymore. It's the same way in the spiritual world. If you use these tools and techniques, You have to develop them consistently and work on them, focus on them, use them every day, and then you begin to see results. And then if you slack off, it kind of goes retrograde like your muscles do. So yeah, but anybody can develop these. But yeah, the chapter on dream interpretation, our dreams are so much more important than we realize. And I teach people in the book how to get information from the other side, how to perform lucid dreaming if you want to, all of these things, and the practical way of dream interpretation, which one of the greatest things that people don't realize about dream interpretation, we're the best interpreter of our dreams, because the other side, through our subconscious and our own subconscious, uses symbols that are in particularly meaningful to us. So what I mean by that is the average straight male, if he sees a red high heel shoe, that's sexy, right? That's hot. Okay. Now, the waitress that's on her feet all day that comes home and has to soak her tired feet, if she sees a red high heel shoe, it looks like a torture device. So two entirely different interpretations,
Yeah,
because she's got
torture.
tired feet. She don't want to be in a high heel. Her feet are exhausted. They hurt.
Yeah.
Okay. So two entirely different interpretations. So we're the own best interpreter of our dreams. If I see a horse in a dream, I've had bad experiences riding horses. So to me, that's not going to be pleasant. It may be warning of danger. It may be saying how your life's in difficult circumstances right now. Look for ways to improve things. To someone that grew up with horses and is an equestrian and loves horses, they see a horse in a dream, it's going to be the symbol of freedom and love and
Yeah.
adventure and excitement. So two entirely different things. So one of the things that I teach people in the book, learn yourself, focus on yourself and what the symbols mean to you. Keep a dream diary, and after a while, it's all going to start to make sense and come together for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we're gonna go. Let's move on to some other things about ghosts and people who
Sure.
claim they've seen ghosts.
Right.
Okay, so making a phone call to a ghost, is an extraordinary claim.
Yep. That's in the
Okay.
first book. Yeah, that's in the first book. I had a dear friend of mine. He's on the other side now. And we were just best buddies. We were drinking buddies. We were both artists. We both liked all the same things. And we were pretty rowdy. For example, we'd get out at the bar, and I was sitting there beside him, and I turned my head to talk to somebody else, and I felt this warmth in my lap, and I was like, what in the world? And I looked down, and he had tossed a lit match in my lap, and I had to grab a glass of water and douse it out. So these are the kinds of things we did to each other. When people saw us coming, they said, here come the toxic twins. Okay. So we would go our separate ways, get home, and I would usually call him when I got home, and we'd talk for a little bit, and he'd say, well, I'm going to sleep now. I'd say, okay, good night. And then I'd look at my watch and wait till about 20, 30 minutes had passed when I knew he'd be asleep. And then I'd call him and wake him up and blather at him till he cursed me and hung up on me. So this is back before cell phones. And you have the cordless phone with the antenna, right?
Mhm.
That you pulled out. And you had speed dial buttons, and you program numbers in those speed dial buttons. So I had him at this particular speed dial number, right? Because if you're going to harass somebody at night, you want the convenience of punching a button, and there they are, and you get to harass them. So I punched the speed dial button for him, and we talked a little bit, and he hung up. And so I waited about 20, 25 minutes and punched the speed dial button for him again on my phone. The phone rang a couple of times, and this woman picked up. And I was like, what in the world? And I pulled my phone away and looked at it, and I was like, I punched the right speed dial button. Who is this? And I said, well, geez, maybe he's got company or something. He didn't tell me he's going to have a woman over. I said, this is John. I said, is Bill there? And she said, John who? And I said, John Russell. And I said, I'm a friend of Bill's. And I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know he was going to have company. I said, is he there? And she went, so this is John Russell. And I was like, what in the world? And I was like, yeah. And I said, is Bill there? And she said, there's no Bill over here.
Over here.
Over here. And I was like, I got chills all
That's
over.
scary.
I was like, okay. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I said, I know I dialed the right number. I said, and she said, so this is John Russell. And I said, yeah, I'm sorry. I said, you seem to know me, but I don't know you. Who is this? And she went, so this is John Russell. I was like, what in God's name?
That's scary.
And I said, yeah, I'm sorry, but and she cut me off and she goes, I'm very tired and I'm going to go to bed now. Good night. And hung up. And I was like, oh, no. And I hung up the phone. I hit the exact same speed dial number again. It's the exact same button. And Bill answered. And I was like, Bill, don't think I've gone insane. But between the time I called you previously and the time I called right now, did I call you? Did the phone ring? No. I said, listen, this is very important. I know you're going to think I've gone nuts or drank too much. Just bear with me. I'll explain it tomorrow. Is there a woman there with you now? No. I said, did anybody else pick up the phone than you? He's like, John, what in the world's wrong with you? What's going on? I said, I'll explain it to you tomorrow. So the two possibilities that I got out of that, Bill's wife had committed suicide in that house that he lived in.
That is
and I thought, I wonder if she was watching our developing friendship and somehow managed to call from the other side, or there's some woman on the other side that knows me and is keeping tabs on me that I don't know who is, and she intercepted the call that night. Yeah, but that was my phone call to a ghost.
That is really creepy. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
pretty cool. It was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
was this have you already developed? You were already a full-fledged, I guess, psychic. So this wasn't like the beginning of something, was it?
Oh no, everything started when I was 5. So
Okay,
I was up in my 20s, 30s.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah.
That's crazy. Now, with encounters ranging from deceased pets to people, UFOs, how do you prepare to protect yourself? I mean, during these paranormal encounters and
I've never
interactions.
had that worry. I've never had that
No?
concern. I've done, paranormal investigations since I was 11. I've had all these experiences since I was a kid. I've never encountered anything that made me feel threatened. I've never encountered the Exorcist movie version of anything. I've never been hit or scratched or bit or threatened or any of that nonsense. It just doesn't happen. And I don't, the only thing that I do, I approach the other side with respect, and the other side gives me respect. And that's one thing that I tell people, all these so-called ghost hunters that you scream at the ghost and challenge the ghost and curse the ghost.
They shouldn't do that.
They shouldn't do that. How would you like it if somebody come up to your door, knocked on the door and started screaming, yelling at you and cursing at you and challenge you to come outside? You'd either call the police or get a gun and shoot them or get a baseball bat and beat them. So, use the same respect when you're dealing with the other side that you would with your fellow human being, because you're dealing with entities that have intelligence, volition, willpower, memories, emotions, everything else, just like we do, even if they were never human. So, and a lot of them have immense power. And so you should approach that with respect and with honor, and don't ask them to jump through hoops. I hate it when they put up a REM pod and they say, okay, if there's anybody here, if there's a spirit here, activate the REM pod. And the REM pod goes off, and what do? Do it again, 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 do it again. It's like, you're not dealing with a trained monkey here. You're dealing with an intelligent being. So approach the other side with respect. Don't go in with these preconceived notions that everything's dangerous or malevolent or whatever. I've investigated a lot of these and been called in to investigate or to help people that have had experiences that they thought they had been attacked or this, that, and the other, and whatever. I'm not saying this is the case every single time, but in the majority of cases that I know of that I've dealt with or investigated, people have misinterpreted what they've experienced, or there has been drug use involved, or there has been mental illness involved, emotional disturbance involved, superstition involved, a knee-jerk reaction from their religious upbringing. And so that's where everything becomes malevolent, demonic, dangerous, or whatever. And it's not. There's not a demon out there behind every bush waiting to get us. You're not going to get my book and start using these techniques and open up something you can't control or whatever. And as far as people think, well, I'll get an attachment. Guess what? You already got attachments. Just like we're sitting here right now, everybody on this planet there's radio waves going through the air right now, passing through your
Mhm.
body, passing through your house, passing through your room. You're not aware that they're there, but they're there. And if you get a radio and you plug it in, you tune the dial, you're going to, oh, there's country music coming in here. Turn the dial again. Oh, there's jazz. Turn the dial again. Oh, there's death metal. Turn the dial again. So just like that, guess what? We have spirit beings around us all the time in the invisible realm. So people, oh, I'm going to get an attachment. Guess what? You already got an attachment. You got spirit guides around you. You got your deceased loved ones around you, keeping an eye on you. You may have your deceased pets around you. You may have entities from other realms around you that keep an eye on you or watch over you or whatever. So, don't have these fear. Don't go into it with these preconceived notions of fear, and don't believe that what you see on the Ghost Hunter shows is realistic, because it's not. Lots of these shows fake evidence. I've talked to some of the on-air talent on some of these shows, and they told me they were asked if they could scream and jump, run out of the room, or work up a cry or whatever, and maybe they would insert something to provoke that later down the line in
Mhm.
editing or whatever. So it's just, look, the Ghost Hunter shows are not everything like it's really cracked up to be. So don't get into that mindset.
I was gonna ask you, 'cause how do you know that these like, you're talking to a deceased member of someone's family? How do you know it's not like a demonic, entity that's trying to trick you? Can you
Well, if you get good and helpful information from that, let's go back to the Bible.
okay.
They accused Jesus of being in league with the devil or being the son of the devil, right? And Jesus said, if the devil works against himself, his house is divided and he can't stand. So if the devil's doing good works, he's going against your basic concept of what evil is. And so how can he continue to influence? So if I'm getting information from a deceased relative in a reading that provides loving, helpful, constructive, and positive information and makes that
Mhm.
person's life better, how is that demonic? How is that malevolent? How is that evil? It's not. And if there was a being that's their sole purpose was to feed you false information or dangerous information or whatever, then they would do that. But if they're giving you good, positive, helpful information, they're defeating their own purpose by doing that.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense. Like, why would he give you positive stuff?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, there was one thing I wanted to talk to you about. I know some couple we were having a discussion a few nights ago. People claim they're called sleep ghosts or something like that, where your people claim that maybe they're in the same room and they
Mhm.
see the person walk by, but the person's sleeping upstairs.
Yeah.
What did you ever hear anything like that before?
Yeah. Somebody's doppelganger. And, maybe it's an astral projection of the person while they're sleeping. So it's, we have a lot of experiences like that I've seen people's doppelgangers. One of the most interesting experiences I had, I dated this woman that was a really, really flashy, good looking woman. How I dated her, I don't know. But anyways, I did. And she had not only was very unique in appearance, very pretty and very flashy and very sexy and very over the top. She also had a car that was very flashy, and she had this stuffed animal that she'd put in the rear deck of the car so that if she was in a parking lot, forgot where she parked, she could look for that stuffed animal. Oh, there's my car. So we had been dating a while, and early one morning, I was going down one of the main thoroughfares in town there, one of the main busy streets.
Mhm.
And from afar, coming up in the opposite lane, going in the other direction, I saw her car and saw her. And my eyesight was super excellent. I could see her from way far away. And I thought, well, what in the world is she doing out this early? She never got out that early. And I looked and I said, well, maybe it's not her, but I knew it was. And she got closer and it was definitely her. And it was her car. And there was a little stuffed animal in the back on the rear deck. And so I flashed my lights at her and she didn't flash back or look over my way. And I beeped and she kept coming and didn't look at me or anything. I was like, well, what in the world? And she got up right close to me. And it was absolutely beyond a shadow of a doubt her. It was definitely her. There was no question it was her. It was her car. There was the decoration in the back and the rear deck and everything. And she drove past me, and I'm honking and I'm yelling, and she drove past me like with this death grip on the wheel and just staring straight ahead and never even looked over at me and went on down the road. And I was like, well, what in God's name? And so I got on my phone in the car there, and I thought, well, I'll call her and I'll leave her a voicemail, and say, what in the world? Number one, what are you doing out so early? Number two, I honked, I flashed my lights, I yelled at you, I was waving out the window. You didn't even look over. What in the world? You were in some kind of deep study or whatever. So I dialed her, phone rang a couple of times. She picked up. I was like, oh my God, I was speechless. I said, what are you doing home? She said, well, idiot, where else would I be? I live here. What else? What do you mean? What am I doing home? I said, I'm watching your car drive down the road in my rearview mirror right now as we're speaking. I saw you and your car, and I'm watching in the rearview mirror as we're speaking. And so we never could figure that one out as to.
She says you were crazy.
No, she was a believer. She knew all this stuff. So we could only figure out that maybe somehow she was thinking about me and projected something real strongly or whatever. But yeah, it's common for people
parallel universe. It's sort of like I was watching a movie on the Angel Network called The Shift, and the shifters would go to a different parallel universe.
Right.
So if that was the case, it would be nice to believe that there are such things that you can go into these, that you can shift in and out of different realities.
Right.
But then what if you get caught in a reality that you don't want to be?
that's always been my thought. It's like, okay, like you really raise your lower or change your vibrations, and you actually go into this other dimension or reality or whatever it is, and there you are, and then you can't get back.
And you're stuck. Basically he was stuck in this one parallel universe, and he wanted to get back to his love.
Yeah.
He kept on going into different realities trying to find.
And
Michael Anthony.
If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to do it, and you get over there, then
I don't think I would want to astro project.
I know it's like, what if you do get stuck and you can't get back to where you want to be, and it's like you have to live this alternate life, and it's a pretty bizarre thing.
I don't think I would like
that
to.
kind of, maybe that happens to some of these people, like David Paulides, missing 411, and all the experiences we have in the U.S. Maybe that's what happens to some of these people, is they get sucked into
a different reality, and they can't get out.
Aren't able to come back. Yeah, because they said that in some of the most bizarre cases, they'll be walking on a path in the woods with somebody, and they'll be side by side, and they're talking, and the person looks over away for like a second or two and looks back, and the person's gone. They're vanished. And so what happens? Why does that person go into this alternate reality and vanish? And my thinking on this was always, let's get a group of people together, psychics and mediums and things, that and metaphysical practitioners, really, and let's go to these spots where they disappeared, see if we can get them back.
That would be. Why didn't anybody suggest that?
I know.
I mean, Michael Paulides, he believes in all that UFO, Bigfoot phenomena. Why didn't he try to do something like that to see if you guys could find out where they went?
That's what I've always wanted people to be able to do. And, and I have to encourage other people to do it, because I have a gajillion health issues. I'm fixing to be 70, for Christ's sakes, in March. And so I don't have the energy and the youth and everything to go out there and do that like I used to do. Yeah. So, I try and encourage people that have that ability to say, hey, look, here's something we can try, go out there and do that and see if you can maybe bring these people back, or at least get a better clue as to where they went or something.
Yeah. Michael Anthony said, do people attach to people through one's own frequency?
Hi,
like twins?
I've been on Michael's show as well. Hi, Michael. I think that there's a lot a good analogy there, because twins do feel the other one's pain without being there to see it. There's cases of twins being separated by states and knowing what was going on with the other twin, or feeling their pain or whatever. So I think that people do get attached to people of their own frequency like that, or to loved ones. And again, if you're really attached to someone, like seeing the spirit of someone, the ghost of someone that looks exactly like them walk through your bedroom while they're upstairs asleep, maybe they're astrally projecting. Maybe you're just so attached to them that you're seeing what they do in their sleep situation, sleep state or whatever. But a lot of possibilities there. And there's a lot of things, Jenny, we just don't know. There are some things we can hang our hats on. There's a lot of stuff we just don't know. And so we have to call it speculation when we're speculating, like I'm speculating that these people go into another dimension, that they disappear. May not be that at all, but it seems like the most logical deduction at this point. And I think it's a good starting point to experiment with.
Mm-hmm. So your birthday's in March. What you're Pisces or you Aries?
Aries.
Okay. So you're on the cusp, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just so many weird things that are happening lately too that we can't explain. I know it seems like there's one goofy thing after the other already.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Somebody on Reddit had posted a picture. I wish I would have the picture of this. It looks like it's the shape of like a alien with a big, the oval, the elongated
typical
head.
Yeah, right.
And it sort of looks like a mushroom or a cross between a fungi and a potato.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if that's the start of something, because it was found in someone's garden, but it looks so much like an alien ET body shape. I wish I had it.
And the other side communicates with us, just the spiritual realm in general. There are aberrations in vegetables that are grown that have these definite shapes to them that are very specific. They look like a human or this or that or whatever. And I've seen, I remember in the Black Rock Forest up in New York, where I used to live, there's a tree there that has a literal human brain on it. There's this growth on the tree in the wood, from the wood and the bark, that's an exact model of the human brain when you look at it, with all the fissures and crevices and everything else. And anybody that looks at it's immediately going to say, "Oh my God, that's a brain." And then there is in the same forest, there is coming off the trunk of the tree way up high and curving over in a flaccid state is a penis with a head on it. And
oh my God.
And I mean, there's no mistaking it's a penis, and it's just growing off the side of the tree, hanging off over the side of the tree.
Well, it must be some kind of weird, like some evil witch turned somebody into something.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to turn you into a tree. So I think the other side, every now and then, in nature itself sometimes says, "Hey, watch this, watch this, watch it when people see this." The other side has a sense of humor. And nature has a little bit of a sense of humor in spite of its danger and everything. Oh, look at that. That's cool. Oh, you can see the little face and the little eyes.
Yeah,
and everything.
You see it's all over the internet now. This head, to me, I don't know. I think this is real, but it could be like a potato, but it looks like, look at the face is what really creeps me out. And
it's got eyes and a little mouth, and it looks like there's a little ear hole over there.
Anything like that before?
That's incredible. That's incredible. I love it.
Do you see that? Now, people are saying it's authentic. So could it be some kind of alien creature that, like, it was an embryo or something, because it's real small. It's not big.
Just something from Mother Earth saying, "Hey, I'm giving you a clue here. I'm giving you a hint here," because nature does that. Mother Earth does that, because I believe Earth is sentient. And here's the funny thing. Used to, if you said that rocks and trees and flowers and bushes and whatever had intelligence, and that the earth itself was intelligent, people laughed you to scorn, called you a tree hugger, called you a nitwit, called you an idiot, called you superstitious. Now, what's really funny, and I write about this in one of the latest books I'm writing, I write about this now. What's really hilarious is that mainstream science, and in my books, I put the links to these scientific articles and to the scientists and to the scientific websites. Mainstream science now is saying trees not only have awareness, they have memory. They're saying now that plants have an understanding of their environment, of their connection to each other, and of everything that's happening to them. They have an awareness of everything that's going on. and on and on and on. So now science is validating what all the old time metaphysicians and everything used to say when they told us, hey, respect nature, respect trees, respect so on and so forth, because they're alive, they have knowledge, they're knowing, they may even have emotions similar to ours.
Yeah, and
And
I think
now
they
scientists are
heal
saying
too.
that, scientists are even saying that plants have emotions in a sense that they know when they're being attacked by like
Well, yeah, because they say that they produce this kind of toxin that can get
yeah,
you sick from
and
eating that.
they start communicating to the other plants in the area that, hey, this caterpillar is chewing on my leaf or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
beware. So it's amazing now that science is proving what psychics and metaphysicians and people have contended all along.
Well, yeah, it's like you don't know what's going to happen. I believe they heal, trees heal, the
Oh
grounding
yeah,
and all that. When you put your feet on the soil, you can feel the energy from the tree
grounding, yeah,
roots actually healing you.
absolutely,
Yeah, definitely. I sleep with a grounding mat.
yeah, yeah,
I totally believe in it, especially
yeah,
when I fall
absolutely,
asleep with. I am so weird. My phone has a EMF protector on it. I don't know if it works or not to protect me because I
yeah.
think too much EMF shouldn't
Yeah,
sleep with it.
it's interesting. I started doing some research lately because I have a heart condition, and I started doing some research lately. And this is not from metaphysical sites. This is from like the medical sites, like Harvard Med and all these things that you find online. And
Mhm.
interestingly enough, they're saying that during geomagnetic storms and solar flares and all those things, that they see a statistically significant increase in heart attacks and heart problems during geomagnetic storms and during solar flares.
Oh, I
So
bet.
yeah, so this is medical science saying this. So this just reinforces how much we're connected with everything and how we may need to do certain protective things for ourselves to see us through those types of things.
Oh, definitely. I think it has an effect because I know when I used to do before I did anything like this on the creative side, I worked in an office and
Mhm.
I don't know. Have a lot of energy, like electricity, because I would mess up all the like the copy
Yes, yes,
machines.
yeah,
I messed up so many things. So I think my electrical pulse, whatever you want to call it, was messing everything up. We have a
yeah. I
comment.
used to do that. And oh, Kaysen says I know mediums who read the minds of plants and even rocks. Yeah, I've
Oh.
had a big experience with that, Kaysen, where I have communicated with plants and where I've communicated with rocks. The most interesting in regard to that, and I write about that in one of my latest books that's coming out. There was a rock out in my garden here in the rock garden in my house in my yard that was an apport because I'm an artist and a photographer, so I'm very visual. I knew everything that was in that specific area. I had just looked at it, and this wasn't there. And then the next time I looked, there was this rock, and it's a very, very strange, very unusual rock. And so I got it and brought it in the house, and it began to communicate visually.
Oh
And
wow.
the first thing that it did was the surface changed appearance, and it changed appearance in the most startling, bizarre way. There was um, faces that begin to appear in profile and silhouette all over the surface of the rock.
Oh,
And then these
cool.
speckles begin to appear. And then my name appeared. And then this sigil that I developed and used appeared on this rock. And then that all vanished with the exception of my name. And my name is still there on this rock. And then it's done various other manifestations. And I was sitting in the living room one day. My wife and I were watching TV, and I had the rock there beside me. And the surface was completely clear except for my name on it that had appeared. And I had ordered this crystal, and this crystal came, and I got the crystal, and I was massaging the crystal, touching the crystal, getting used
Mhm.
to it. And the rock developed these white blotches, these white polka dots all over it, all
That's
over its the entire thing. And I showed it to my wife. I said, look at this. Look, this was clear before. Look at this now that's covered with polka dots. This has to be an acknowledgement and a reaction to this crystal. And so she freaked out. So we looked at that and I put the rock down and I left it there. And about 5 or 10 minutes later, we looked at it again and all the polka dots were gone. They'd vanished off the rock. So rocks do communicate.
That's
And this
amazing.
rock has gone further than just a visual communication and begin to tell me about itself. It presents itself as a male presence, a male energy. It presents itself with knowledge, intelligence, understanding, emotion, so on and so forth. So this has opened up a whole new understanding and exploration for me that I've never really had. Now, I've always had rocks that communicated symbols and things to me, but this is the deepest communication.
There's some kind of a living substance in it that we didn't know about.
Yeah, it's like an intelligence. It's
you think
a
that
living
rock's
thing.
Just a rock, but it's more than just a rock.
It's more than just a rock, exactly. So I always tell people we have to be so aware, so conscious of our world and what's in it, and the understanding that these things do possess
everything in nature.
May not be a human intelligence, but it's an
it's nature. Nature's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we have a couple more minutes. I just have to, the last 5 minutes we have together, since you are a psychic, do you see anything in my life?
I think it's gonna be a little topsy-turvy for you this year, and it's gonna be kind of a do I zig or zag here? And I think the main thing is, rather than trying to deal with every option or variation or whatever comes your way, stay focused with your main focus and just keep moving toward that. And don't try and adapt to or deal with each little variation or problem or thing that arises or comes along. Just kind of ignore that and keep focusing on moving forward toward your main focus and your main goal. Because all these distractions are going to come up, and all these things are going to come up that if you focus on them, they're going to take you off the path. And what you need to understand for this year is, just because something shows up in your life, don't mean you have to give it attention and deal with it. You can ignore it and just keep going toward your goal for the year.
Do you see any one specific goal I should have instead of going off in so many different directions?
I think focus on deepening your spiritual walk and your spiritual work and doing what you're doing here with the show. And I think that has to be the main thing for you, and develop things that are meaningful to you, that have real significance for you.
Sounds good. So, where should people find your information? Where can they go to find information on your books, your readings?
Okay, if they want a reading or more information about the psychic aspect of myself, go to johnrussell.net. And there's 2 S's, 2 L's in Russell, johnrussell.net. And if you want more information on the books, go to johnrussellauthor.com. So it's .net for the psychic, .com for the books, johnrussellauthor.com, and then johnrussell.net for the readings.
Well, there you have it, folks. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, Jenny, I've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me back. It's been great. Been a joy talking with you again. I hope all the listeners enjoy it.
I hope so too. And it was a pleasure having you on again. Will you take care and enjoy the rest of the year, and with many healthy blessings.
Thank you. You too.
Great. Well, it was a great show tonight. I'm glad we had him on. So many different things there are going on in my life. I do go in a lot of different directions. I have good night, Kaysen. I have, oh my goodness. It was a really cool experience I had this weekend, so I want to share it. I posted it on my Facebook page. But I went to the Barnes & Noble with my grandchildren and my sons and daughters, and we were just looking for books for the kids. And my daughter-in-law goes, oh my God, your book's here. And I'm like, what book? And I'm like, From the Sky. So it was like, holy moly. That book was published. The first edition was 2012, and then the second edition was 2019, and it was optioned for a movie series with a producer and a screenwriter. But when COVID happened, everything went So it's still optioned, but we haven't heard anything. And I go, holy crap, is that a sign or something? So I've been going into different directions. I want to write, I want to paint, I want to do so much, and I'm trying to do all this stuff. That's why I asked him, should I just, concentrate on my writing, or should I concentrate on my art, because I am an artist. So it's like, well, what do I do? It's like my brain's like, but that was a really cool experience to see it in Barnes and Noble. And it was the old edition with the old cover. It has been since redone, and I think it's a better cover. And I also want to let you know, I will no longer be on Sunday nights. This is my last Sunday night, so I'm going to be strictly on Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern. So I hope you guys come back. We have a lot of cool guests coming in March. So I hope you guys can come back, but I gotta get off because I don't want to get yelled at because I'm over my hour, and that wouldn't be too cool because Sean Kelly's next. So I just want to say thank you all. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Thank you. See you next time.